Okay, great. All right, so I think I'm all set up with all my devices here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started today. So welcome to today's community breathing and tension release class. So we're gonna just do a floor version today, just a nice relaxed sitting on the floor. We're gonna just go through all our body parts, releasing and breathing and opening things up. And just trying to get some sort of flush going through with the summer weather here. And so let's come around and just have a seat comfortably. You can cross your feet. You can go into a nice little diamond shape here or feet out, sitting up on a pillow, something to prop you up. So you want to be able to sit up with your sits bones. So feeling that you're on your sits bones, resting into the bones to feel a sense of alignment with ease. We don't want to have any tension in the front of the hips or the lower back while we're starting all of this. So that's really important. Making yourself comfortable does not mean that you're weaker or anything bad. You want to be able to move and breathe. So we're going to just take a moment in your comfortable position. Try to relax your shoulders. We're going to find our sits bones. You might know where they are, but let's feel where they are. You can let your eyes draw closed a little bit if you like. Feel that your body drops down into your sits bones a bit. You're thinking of releasing through the bones in your body, letting your breath come into the bones to let go. Let your breath drop down into the base of your spine, into the base of your pelvis. So we're just going to shift from side to side, just a little tiny body weight shift, feeling that one sits bone is heavy and then the other one is heavy. It doesn't matter what you're doing up through the spine. Just let whatever happened comes through and feel your weight shift help you let go into your seat, into the floor a little bit more. So we want to release the tissue around the bones so that we're not holding tension as we start here. And then just come back through center once you feel comfortable with that. We're going to now drop down through the tail end of the spine. Let your breath travel down through the spine. We have our sits bones, we have our tail now, breathing through the floor, releasing. So there's a nice sense of letting go through the lumbar lower back into the sacral and all the way through into the coccyx tail there and continuing. So we want to feel that we're not curled under sitting on it. We're still on our sits bones, but we're not holding tension and pitching forward, which can happen quite a lot. And then just relax the shoulders, let your eyes shut and breathe. Take a few deep breaths here, especially on your exhalation, breathing out. And letting the breath in as you inhale. And just let that long exhale come through like a nice sigh to release and let go of any tension, not bringing anything with you into this session. And releasing the breath as you exhale, letting go of any external thoughts or tensions. And then we're just going to gently open the eyes. You might hear Belle is over here on the floor next to me, and not everybody can see her. We're going to take the palms together. Now that same breath inside, we want to take the palms together and just glide forward and back. Feel the breath come up into your hands. You can keep your eyes relaxed or a little bit closed here and just listen if you feel comfortable. We don't want to always close the eyes while we're working, but there's a sense sometimes in the beginning, it's easier to connect internally when your vision might be a little bit of a distraction. We want to feel that release and friction gliding in between the palms. Feel that your breath is coming up into your hands. Drawing the energy up into your hands and then relaxing the hands apart, feeling that nice buzz in between the palms. We want to let that energy push your palms out, opening into the space around you. So the breath from your inside moves you in any direction into your space through the outside. We're looking for a connection from the inside to the outside to expand in any direction around us. So we have a sense of support. We're just yawning and breathing, moving in any direction that feels good to you. We're feeling that we can breathe in every possible expanded release direction, up above, down below, around the sides and behind you. I especially like behind you. Feel the breath through the back of your body move you. So there's a sense of really easy support through the back body. So we feel that potential come through the front of the body here. And then we're going to reach out with our palms, gathering energy from the space around, drawing it through our hands and sensing it over the eyes, breathing and washing that over our eyes, around our face. So we're just going to breathe out, find a sense of calmness and release flushing through your face as you wash with your palms. And then we're going to take our middle fingers, breathing out, we're going to carve, exhale, above on the brow bone. We're going to breathe out and sweep up and around with a nice little lift up into the hairline, relaxing your face. So you don't have to use any muscles here. Just feel that release, and you're receiving that openness from the center of the face all the way through and out, breathing and opening and lifting upwards a little. And then we'll take our index finger, bending a little. We're going to go underneath the eyes into the orbital bone, using a nice exhale, flushing around the bone and up a little bit into the hairline, breathing out and feeling the face relax. Sometimes you want to kind of yawn your face, or feel that your face, something might happen where the muscles engage in your face, but try to really relax and feel the openness from the center out. And then we'll take our fingertips on the forehead. We're just lightly scrubbing the skin, moving up and down. Use a nice exhale, moving the lymph under the skin. And then starting to move to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very, very light circular motion on the temple skin here, on the surface of the skin, not pulling or tugging or pushing in. We're going to then travel down in between the upper and lower jaw. So relax your jaw, let it hang open a little. Use your fingertips. You can really palpate. You can really poke into the tissue here and breathe and move around. So you can explore where you feel more tension to try and breathe into that with your fingertips and let that go. Let that open up and release. And then we're going to come up into the scalp above the ears. We're doing a nice little lifting, scrubbing upward motion around the back of the ears with that lifted feeling, just decompressing, lifting some pressure off of the ears around our scalp and making our way to the back of the head, all the way to the back underneath where the head and neck meet into our occipital. So you'll feel a nice little crevice there. You're going to massage side to side, laterally, opening that crevice. And as you're doing this, feel that you get a little bit taller. Feel that that space you're giving and release you're giving into the occipital gives you a sense of length upward. You can move your fingertips a little bit wider to the outsides towards your ears. Feel tallness come through the sides, and then coming back into the close to the spine. So around the sides of the spine. Now we're going to work down the back of the neck along our erectors. We're making a nice circular massage and breathing into that. So again, you can go a little bit deeper with this and feel that the breath travels through your hands and just kind of letting go, moving through it, breathing into it, until you've come all the way down and you're into the tops of your shoulders. So right into our trapezoids, huge tension spot. We're going to dig our fingertips over the top of the traps. You're going to sweep and massage and release any external tension and shake it off the hands. And then again, going back. So you can take a slightly different spot here. Breathing out, letting go, sweeping off any tension and letting it go. And again, going back. Nice exhale, relaxing the shoulders, getting that nice release. Sometimes it's nice to move your head a little and sweep it off. Now we're going to interlace the fingers, turn the palms forward, little softening in the tail. Feel the breath inside, lift your body up. So from inside, we lift up. The tail of the spine goes down through the floor. Think of the tail of your spine yawning through the floor to lift you up. So it feels more suspended inside your body. You're not trying and you're not holding. We're going to let that come all the way through the arms. If you have a little bit more tightness in the shoulders, your hands might be forward, your elbows might stay more bent. But we want to feel that we're lifting off of our seat almost from the inside, using that breath. We're going to use that breath just to wiggle up out of our seat a little bit more, releasing off the sits bones, like you're unplugging from your tail. Feel that the tail of the spine gets a little bit more free, a little bit more breath and sensation. So we have a little bit more awareness of where the tail is. And then we're going to come back through center, relax the tail under, let your arms glide down to relax in front. We have this nice little circular sweep. We're going to take a nice little cradle sweep around to the side, finding your elbow, breathing up. As the elbow breathes up, we make space to breathe open through the sides of the ribs, up and over the front, the other side, and round forward to come forward, around and down. So the arms are making a big circle around our body. Inhale. So my shoulders can relax with the elbows wide out here, massaging the scapula around the back of the ribs, forward and down. Inhale, find your long tail again. That long tail helps your chest breathe open, relaxing over, around, and down. And again, letting the breath in, feeling that you're breathing in between the ribs through the intercostals. Nice little pause and go the other way. Exhale and forward. You're just massaging your shoulder blades, your scapulae around the back of your ribs. We want to feel the mobility, the motion through our scapula, releasing and moving around. So we're not holding, we're just letting that movement come through to wake all the muscles and nerves up around the shoulder girdles so that we can place them properly. Now we're going to come up through the top, find your tail again, nice and long through the floor to suspend. Find your internal breath right through the center of your body. That midline breath lifting you up to reach you up taller. We're going to separate the fingers, feel the suspension in and up. We're going to circle through the wrists and fingers and just breathe open through the chest, letting the arms float around and down. Finding that internal suspension to remain and let your arms hang and then let it go, release. Now from here, we're going to bring the feet out one at a time. Let's bring the feet out in front. We're going to bend one knee. You can just sort of bend your knee and rest it off to the side. The other foot is flexed. This same hand that foot is forward is going to lift up. This hand's going behind me. So you're just going to push a little. We find that internal breath to lift up. We're going to inhale, lift, open the chest, let the shoulder relax and hang. You can even roll through your foot a little bit, release and change. Feel that internal connection lift you up, and the back palm is a little bit of a help to get over the sits bones, to open your chest, and you can find your foot and your toes. And again, let the breath guide you. Opening the chest to release, relax and change. And breath leads you up, over the tail, and rolling through, release and change. And again, breath brings you up, over the tail to open the chest, release and change. One more time up. Finding that internal connection to release and open from the spine and release. So now both feet are going to come out, and you can separate your feet to a comfortable position, not really far apart, but closer towards the center and comfort. We're going to let the hands come up. We're circling wrists and ankles, breathing through them, and just making our way around and down into a nice hang over the legs. So you can soften your knees, relax your head here, and just feel, even if it's just your head, sometimes the back is too tight and this can be just your head hanging for whatever reason. You can find a release over and forward. Let your head go and let your breath help you release and drop your weight with gravity here. Releasing through the jaw. Sometimes we hold the head a little bit. Try to use your breath to really let the weight of the head go. We're going to now exhale through the nose and take a little drop with the head as you exhale, just to feel a little extra release, travel through the spine, letting that release go through the lower back. Maybe it's into your neck, maybe it's your jaw, letting that release come through. We breathe out through the nose to get into the nerves running up along the spine a little bit easier. So you can breathe out through your mouth if you like, but work towards maybe your nose. And then just hanging and breathing normally. We're going to sway the head from side to side, using the breath. We want to feel really heavy here. Breathing out and shifting your head from side to side, feeling that you're shifting through your sits bones. We're not trying to shift through the sits bones, but we're affected in the sits bones. So the weight of the head, we seep down through one side and we seep down through the other side. So we start to feel the breath through the back of the ribs. The lower back ribs can breathe a little bit and separate from the tissue down into the low back lumbar. So there's this nice little diagonal release you can get as you shift your body weight here, just to kind of open that a little bit more. And then come back to your center and find that nice lift in your hip. We're going to walk backwards on the floor, lifting up and walking back. We're shifting up. We're using our sits bones as feet and dragging your leg a little bit. Now let's come forward. Lift up and drop forward. Your sits bone pushes on the floor to lift the other side up and over. So it's all in the pelvis and the hips, and we're releasing through the legs. We want to get a little movement in our sacrum. And then relax and hang over, relax your head over, breathe out. Find that release through the tail of your spine. Your tail draws down through the floor, which initiates you to roll up. Keep drawing your tail down. Feel that your tummy scoops in and up along your spine as your tail continues to lengthen, lengthen, lengthen more and more and more until you're all the way up. And before you know it, you're in your tallest posture without tension, and then just soften that and release. So now from here, we're going to let the tail curl under. We're using our fists, doing a little bit of drumming on our sacrum, breathing out, releasing and breathing. You can go right on top of the bones in the sacroiliac joint here. We want to feel that release in the cartilage between the bones with our breath and in the palms here. We're going to come into the glutes a little bit, right into the back of the hip sockets, all around the glutes, letting things really breathe and release and shake. We're not holding. And then we're going to come up the sides of the spine. Now, do not go on your spine. You can go around the sides of the spine, working your way up to the ribs, towards your kidneys, feeling that you're releasing out to the sides and working back down again. And then here, we'll come up a little bit. Use your fist to go right into the back sides of your hips. So we're a little bit more into the side hip towards the back. So this is our greater trochanter area. And we're just getting a nice release. This is where the femur bone gets pulled into the hip socket. So we want this to be nice and open. And then we're going to come around and do a nice flush from one side to the other. This is more from the back, rushing forward. So we're feeling that we're releasing any tension or tightness in the back of the hip, the posterior hip, and flushing it down and out through the leg. So we're using a nice little vibration. And then we're going to come around with the palms. Open your hands a little, use the heels of your hands, relax your hands. Now do a fluffing up around the sides of the legs, around the outside of the thighs. A nice little scooping, lifting, releasing, breathing through the palms here. We want the muscles to really shake off the bones here. So no holding tension. You might not realize you're holding tension. So using this to let things release and move around so they can find their correct place without holding on to the old place. And then we'll come down. We're really low, right up above the knees here. So we're going to make those little fists do a nice little fluffing motion again. So we're releasing around, on top, and over the knees. You can go over top of the knees even. You can just sort of feel around what feels right for you. We have a lot of tension held into the attachments of the knees, and we're trying to get into that a little bit. And then take your fingertips right on the kneecap, the patella, and just tap, 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 feel a nice vibration into the bone, into the joint. We want to use this vibration to wake things up, to get our nerves going. We can stimulate some fluid production even just by doing this. We're going to come down the shin bones, tapping, tapping, tapping. Go all the way down to your ankles, breathing into it. So even though we're tapping, we're breathing through our fingertips here. Try not to lose our sensation of breath and work your way back up again. So now we're going to lean back a little, go back to the heels of your hands and flush through the quads in a downward motion from your hips to your knees. So we're covering the entire length span of the quads, and quads meaning 4. So we have to go around on the inside, around on the outside. Our legs are round. We want to get that nice release in every area. And then we're going to lean back a little bit more. So if you just come up, there's a nice crease in the front of our hips here when we're relaxed. If we come up a little bit taller, you might feel them engage a little more. If you stay tall and do a little hinge back, you'll feel them engage even more. That's our hip flexors. We're gonna just drop our hands down into our hip flexors while they're just slightly engaged there to release through that. And then we'll continue flushing down the quads, relaxing again, getting a nice release towards the feet, following our line of circulation. And then we'll come down into the outside of the shins here, our peroneals. We're gonna fluff up and around, getting that nice bouncy release, breathing through the palms, letting that flow through and release, so our shins are in between our ankles and our knees. We don't want to have anything holding on in our alignment there. So we want to get a nice release between the two joints. And then from here, we're going to relax. We'll bring the feet back. This is not to take a big stretch. Relax with your feet back. Let your knees hang out to the side. We're going to use the tops of our hands, a little drop back, and go in a downward flushing motion from your hips into your thighs. So our inner thighs releasing from the inside of the hip sockets here. And then taking that down. So we're going along the whole adductor leg line here. So we're flushing down on the inner thighs towards the knees. Breathing through that, letting things shake and move around. Then we're going to flex through our heels. We get a slight engagement through our calves here. Today, let's start with this. We're going to make a fist and just drop a little bit into your calves, finding a nice release there, breathing into it, and just kind of moving all around to let that go. You can go lower into your Achilles tendon area here, releasing through that. And now let's go into the big drop. So we're going to take our fists up, exhale, drop down. So you get a bigger drop with a little bit more force. So if you're sore for some reason in your calves, you might not want to do this one, but letting that really come through into the structure. And then from here, we're just going to take our hands back, relax the legs out, and just shake them out on the floor. You can do a nice little shift here. Make sure you're not holding tension. We're going to take one knee up, take your right knee up, inhale, exhale with a little scoop through the low belly. So we're going to exhale to connect and let the leg go and change. So we're going to exhale, release, and again. So we're not trying to bang into the floor through the back of the knee. We're trying to lengthen and release along the floor through the back of the knee. So the support with that little scoop through the abdomen into our center gives us a nice contrast to let the leg go a little bit easier without pulling on anything or disrupting anything in our alignment too much. And then again, now from here, just relax and go a little in and out. If you do little taps with the inside of your toes, that's fine. And if you don't tap, that's fine. So you just want to be gentle on those bones there, but relax in the muscles and feel that nice release in the hip sockets without any interference of tension here. We're going to take our feet back in, and now we're going to focus on the feet a little more and just breathe, rolling through the ankles, moving them around, starting to focus on your feet, relaxing your feet on the floor. We're going to massage right into that inside underneath the ankle bone heel area. So we're breathing. You can really kind of dig in here with your fingertips. Lots of, connective tissue in here. So we want to really get in there and release any tension that would be holding our ankles back, releasing all around. You can feel your heel at the top of your heel. It's a little bit tender, but you can really sort of carve that space open. And then we're going underneath into the soles of the feet. I'm using my thumbs here. So you take a really nice mushy massage. So getting into the arches, moving things around, figuring out where you're holding tension in your feet. So you want to feel that you release, especially under your first metatarsal, your big toe, the ball of that big toe, right? There's a really good amount of tension that gets held there. If you have high arches, try to really relax your arches and breathe into this and let your feet be relaxed and really sort of receive, letting go here. Let's go underneath the balls of the feet, right? So each little toe is a ball, so they're plural. We're gonna just feel that nice little opening, stretch your toes apart, feel space come in between the toes, releasing and breathing into that space with your feet relaxing here. And then gently release your hands. We're gonna take the hands back behind us on the floor. So now we're gonna walk along the floor with our feet, breathing through the toes. There's a little curl under your sits bones. You're collecting and squeezing the legs together to feel a sense of connection right through the midline of your body. We're going to exhale and squeeze and walk, rolling through the feet, using your toes to pull your heels forward. Especially again, if you have high arches, seep with your breath into the floor. Let your arches really relax and expand into the floor. So we're looking for that nice articulation with every little toe, especially your pinky toes. When you get too far away, reverse with your toes doming over first. Now again, seep your arches into the floor. As your heel draws back, you'll feel your arches let go and sort of like a melting quality. You can use your breath to help that process if it's holding on. Let's go forward again through the center, connecting and breathing out and walking. And exhale and through. And again, exhale, expand and through. And then just relaxing the legs, shake them out on the floor again, release. Let's bring the feet back into whatever comfortable seated position you prefer here. I'm doing a cross there. So we're going to lift the chest up. Now we're going into our happy hamster, lifting up, taking a nice massage. Inhale, we feel the chest expand here, especially on the inhale, and exhale, release. So we want to feel that balloon effect. As we take an inhalation, the chest cavity, all of the lateral muscles expand wide. And exhale. Then we flush throughout the entire abdomen, all throughout this area, using the length and release there. We're going to come down into the front of the hips, right into the groin area, just massage into the lymph there, moving things around a little bit. And then we're going to come up right into the front of the chest, into our sternum breastplate area. Just take a nice exhale, scrubbing up and down, feeling that you're releasing tension here, probably tension you didn't even know was there. And then taking a nice flush down with the fingertips from your ribs into your pelvis. We're going to go up under one side, underneath the ribs, releasing. We're also kind of waking things up into our center, into our core there, going around the other side, using our fingers to wake things up. And then coming back through center, relax your arms to hang, relax your shoulders here. So let your shoulders, and a lot of times when we think of the shoulders, we think of the top of the shoulders, right? So visually we might connect with that, but your scapula in the back, right? So your shoulder blades relax. That's what relaxes your shoulders. Relax your head over to one side and use your opposite hand and just take a nice little massage into any of those little crevices into the front of the shoulder and the chest. So you can kind of move your head around if it feels right for you. We're just moving this lymph around here, really getting a nice flush, breathing into that, really kind of helping your body release and detox anything that's holding on. And then just relaxing up and over to the other side. When you go to the other side, don't think so much of your head. Think of your shoulder blade, your scapula relaxing and hanging that arm, and then letting your head hang from that. You'll feel that your head can truly release over to the side instead of forcing it to be there. And just kind of moving around. You can explore, go where you feel like you need to. You can go into the attachment zones, right into the collarbone here, those ribs all the way up there. That's a good spot. And then coming back into center. Now from here, we're going to find the breath through the center, lifting us up. The tail releases under. Internally, we gather and feel the breath lift our arms through and up. So we inhale, lift, 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 lift. We lift up inside, and then we're going to take a nice long exhale. We take an exhale, release the arms, dropping them down and out. So try not to release your tail as you release the arms, then let go and draw in and up again. Inhale, the breath lifts you. Feel and imagine that internal connection, using this visceral guide to lift us up and up and up and up. We keep that suspension as we let go. One more time, release, gather in and up. You can think of your tail still drawing down to help you feel the lift up. Sometimes the back is too tense and we need that tail to cue downward and let go. Now we're going to shake it all out. Your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists here, and just kind of hanging over, letting your head go. Again, we want to get a nice shake off the bone, breathing through the upper back, letting your head go, letting your jaw and your chin go, especially coming down into your wrists and your palms and your fingers, letting that release, really shake away any tension from technology into our hands, getting a nice fuzzy feeling going there. And then once you've gotten that, we're going to come in. So now we're focusing on the breath opening through the center of the chest. So right at the bottom of your ribs here, where they start to separate, we have that nice, I don't know if everyone can really feel it, your xiphoid process here. That's a bony structure, but then you have your solar plexus, which is more nerve. It is nerve. So we want to feel that the breath is opening when we open our arms from this central point, right? So we're going to just take one finger at a time, try to relax your shoulders, holding your hands kind of around just below your heart level. We're going to exhale, breathe out, wiggle it open, let the breath release you and float. So we're feeling that suspension like a bird taking off for flight, breathing. Feel the breath from the center of your chest float your arms open. So it's not back behind you, it's out and open to the sides. So we're just opening up each little nerve line through each finger. And change, make sure you get the other hand, the other fingers. We're looking to really connect with the sensation of breath from the center of the chest and feeling how that floats us open. And again. So sometimes when you gather your finger, you have to find the feeling of breath in your chest to let it open. And then take your fingers interlacing and just kind of smush around, squeezing and letting go. You can shear the heels of your hands forward and back a little bit. And then we're gonna relax the shoulders, relax the wrists, breathe out and just glide around. Let your breath release here with an exhale to release through the wrists. And then we're going to reverse it. We're trying to find that release in the other direction, our less chosen direction by our nervous system. Breathing out and letting go. And then taking the hands apart and just opening and closing a little bit, feeling that space in between. So now from here, we're going to do our squeezing breath in a standing position today. So right now we're going to come around onto our hands and knees. We're going to find this position, this quadruped position on hands and knees. Your hands can be slightly turned out here. It doesn't have to be straight forward or turned in. You want to go by how your scapula feel. So with your hands on the floor, we'll just do a little check here for alignment, just like we did with our sitting bones. We're just doing a little shifting side to side. And you don't even have to lift, just shifting you from one hand to the other. And I know that some people have some wrist discomfort, and you can be on a cushion. You can raise your wrists a little bit. If you really need to be on your knuckles, you can, your first two knuckles. Or if you have push-up handles, sometimes that's fine for this too. So if it's really compromised. So now from here, with your hands slightly turned out, notice your scapula. Are your scapula lifting up? Feel them relax down. Don't feel you have to pull them down. Just relax them down here. Finding the length of, now we can work on the tail. So now we can find that nice crease through the tail of the spine. We have a nice crease into the front of our hips. So we feel a sense of awareness in our alignment. We're going to feel that same alignment sense right through the midline of the body. Let's take the right foot back and tuck the toes under. So now we have our heel releasing through the back of the heel. We want the back of the heel to let go, the sole of the foot releasing and opening. Feel that your tail glides back towards your heel. You're gliding your heel and your foot backwards along the floor to release and open the knee and the hip, and then bring it back in. So we're not losing our connection. Feel the connection through the midline as you inhale and find your heel. Exhale, glide back. So you're connecting inside your center as you're stretching and releasing. And again, feel that center connection. Exhale, tail to heel, and change. Feel that your abdomen gives a little bit of a lift up into your body as you glide. And in and change. And lift, exhale, and glide. And in and change. And lift, exhale, and glide. And in. So now from here, our knees are back together. If your knees are okay, we're going to tuck our toes under. My heels are touching, toes are a little bit apart. We're going to walk our hands back to the knees. This is a little squatting position. I know that not everyone's knees like this, but if you feel okay, push back so that your heels drop down and your tail drops down. Your knees can separate a little bit here. So the toes are a little bit apart. I'm hanging, just kind of hanging over like an old monkey here, relaxing and breathing. Let your tail go, let your head go. You can use your hands to shift your body weight on your feet to get a nice massage and opening, especially through the Achilles here. So if you feel your heels can comfortably drop down to the floor, go ahead and do that. Feel that that breath releases through the back of the body. Take your hands closer to your toes. We're going to push on the floor to help us come up and find a nice scoop through the abdomen and push away and stretch. Now from here, we're going to walk our feet apart, a wide hip width stance. So you're going to just bend your knees a little, draw your tail under. We're going to feel a heavy, heavy tail and find a nice little hang here. We're kind of rolling up about halfway. We're over our hips. So we don't want to pitch, right? We're not pitching over. We want to feel that the curl through the lumbar draws through our tail so that we have a plumb line down to the floor and we're hanging off of our center here. So we're just going to breathe through that. Take your hands. We're going up. We're on our quads here, right? We're above the knees. We go to the outside, up above the knees on the quads. So we're going to do a nice circle. We push to feel engagement. We're going to breathe through the pelvis. I'm calling them hip circles, but we're moving the knees. So we're moving through the hips and giving contrast through the outside of the legs here. We're rolling on the feet. We're going to go in, around, and breath brings us up. There's an internal lift here constantly. We're not compressing with gravity. We're lifting with gravity, lifting away from gravity to give a sense of length and release, and also get more function going around. Let's reverse this. Use that contrast to go out, around and in. Breath lifts you up through center. And don't feel you have to make your knees go in. I mean, especially if you see my knees go in, it's more of an alignment thing on my body. So, you know, that's not, I'm not trying to make that. That is a structural thing, which some people might look different than others. Some people's knees might be more outward. And then if you're lucky, you're right in the center. So we're going to come through center. We're walking our feet together, not all the way together. Give a little bit of a space. We're going back to hang over the legs here. We're not going to do the together legs with that, but we're going to shake our legs out here. And we're going to bend the right knee. So as you bend your right knee, you hang a little bit over that knee. Your body weight shifts into your opposite straight leg hip. Feel that your tail, like we did with the leg brushing back on hands and knees. You're just going to exhale, do a little scoop through the tummy and drop into your straight leg, hip and heel. And change, we're kneading. We're going to bend the left knee, hang over the left, and exhale, drop down the straight leg, hip and heel. And again, change. Bend your right knee, hanging over. And exhale, feel that your tail flushes to your straight leg heel. You can do a kind of a little curl up with your head. And change, bending your left knee, and then exhale. Find a nice connection in your curl from the abdomen, from the center. And then come back to center, hanging over. Feel that your tail plumb lines over the back of your heels into the floor. Feel your tail, the breath through your upper abdomen lifts, and that gets you going to roll up, that lift to the ceiling through the upper abdomen. Your tail draws down through the floor as you're lifting up inside. Keep going through that momentum along the spine until you come all the way up right here, finding that length down through the tail, up and open into the front of the chest here. So I just have to change a couple of things here. So now we're standing and just feeling that nice alignment opening into the center of our body. So now we're vertical. We have a sense of that midline through the center of our body. We're relating to our balanced center stance. Finding the length. Now, when you're standing and finding the length of your tail, think of the very top of the sacrum, just gliding nice and long down and then out behind you along the floor. So there's a sense of extension through your body. We're going to take the squeezing breath here. So take your feet together into your center as close as you feel comfortable and connected. If you're smushing your feet together and you have to compromise in your hips and your lower back, don't do that. Find it inside and gather the feet to where you feel connected. So we're going to take a deep breath and expand, opening and lifting up, filling this up with air. We're going to take a squeezing exhale, fingertips, toes, and eyes, dantian, scooping in with the exhale, compressing and curling and gathering. Keep breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, getting out anything you don't need or want anymore until you don't have any more breath left. Let the breath in and expand and float. Opening up and then squeezing it out again. Letting the breath in. We're going to do one more exhale through every distal point, fingertips, toes, eyes. As the breath comes in, floating your body up to expand. So now here we're going to let the arms float up. As we exhale, take that little softening in the knees and the elbows, just gliding forward, around and down. So we're staying nice and long in the spine here. We're going to take a sipping breath, sip from the dantian, from the base of the spine, and elongate through the body and float the arms around and up as we sip. So that breath from the midline floats you up. Suspending it and connecting deeper into it as we exhale, a little softening in the knees and elbows. So we feel that connection suspend inside, releasing gently down with gravity. Find the breath, gathering in and up again to sip. Feeling your shoulder blades lightly glide down. Connect a little bit deeper through the low belly as you exhale to release. And all the way down, letting go. Let's find the breath one more time, sipping in and up. You can give a little bit of pressure through the floor with your feet, finding your heels. And exhale, connecting a little bit deeper into your body as you release, forward, around, and down. Now we're just going to come up, take a deep breath in. We're going to shrug our shoulders up and round them back a little bit. And again, breathe in and up. Feel the length of your tail. Make sure you don't tense your lower back as you do this. Now we're going to take a deep breath in, gather the breath, lift the arms up, inhale. We're going to exhale. Now we're going to let go and just release, releasing the knees and the arms. Gather, find the feet pushing into the floor again, inhale. And we let it go. One more time, breath brings us up. Feel that openness in your chest. And then just use that release through your bones to take a nice little walk out of this. So you're just letting that posture feel open and long, lengthen behind you. Excellent. Thank you for joining me, everyone. So we're back to the usual time here. So yeah, I'm glad to be back at this time. I think it kind of works easier for everybody. And thank you for joining me. If anybody has any questions or comments, please don't hesitate. And I will see you again next week, same time, same place. And everybody have a wonderful 4th of July weekend and hopefully enjoy some summertime. Thank you. Bye.